Top 5 beginner tips for playing the family in the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the game. The first thing that I wanted to talk about, the number one tip, we're going to jump right into it. I don't want to waste too much of your time. The first tip is trap the exits. Now, you may be wondering, why am I looking at gameplay from the perspective of a victim right now? Well, it's because you may have just seen me kicking that generator, and now I'm heading out towards the exit. And you see that exit he's going towards right now? You see that little green light to the left there? That indicates whether or not the electric barrier on the floor that he is just about to cross over right there, whether or not that is on. If it's red, if that light is red, that means that it is on, and that if you attempt to cross it while it is electrified, it will instantly kill any victim that tries to go across it. So as soon as the match starts, it's really key that if you are either the hitchhiker or the cook, and a lot of times, if you were super organized, you could have the hitchhiker go and do this one and turn on that generator in order to block that exit, and then maybe have the cook go do the back gate where you have to hook up a car battery, and I'll show you exactly where that is in a second. And by the way, the generator and the car batteries and pretty much everything on this map has multiple locations where it can spawn. But you want to, as soon as the match starts, you want to make sure that you block off those exits, because otherwise, as soon as they get out of the basement, they're pretty much free to escape. So you definitely want to make sure that as soon as that match starts, you trap those exits if you are playing the hitchhiker or the cook, not Leatherface, because if you haven't played this game yet, Leatherface starts at the basement, and it's his job to kind of mess with the victims before they get upstairs. The second thing would be to close and lock doors. That seems pretty self-explanatory, but the reason that you want to do that, locking the doors seems obvious because it slows people down. It stops them from just opening up the door and moving on. But you also want to close doors, because that could be, even if it's not a door that you can lock anymore, if the other team is not doing a good job of communicating, they might think that a certain door is locked. A perfect example is the front door of the house. The front door of the house is like the easiest way to get out of the house. So even if somebody has already unlocked that, if you shut that door, you start chasing a victim might think that door's locked. I can't go that way. And so they might then, go around and get themselves trapped, cornered, or they might jump out the window, and then you've got them. So close every door you see, because especially close it behind you. It's going to make it harder for them to escape, and it's going to confuse them. And if they're not communicating, they're not going to know which doors have been opened and which ones are still locked. So always close your doors. That was tip number 2, by the way. Close and lock doors. I forgot to put the tip thing up there, but that's because we're going quick, baby. Tip number 3 is Rev Your Chainsaw. Rev Your Chainsaw with Bubba. I'll show you the part here in this VOD. This is something that wasn't explained real well on how to play Bubba here, but you'll see here when I'm playing Bubba, he has a little meter there in the bottom right, and once it gets about 3/4 full, he's going to lift the chainsaw above his head, and when he does that, he gets a massive speed boost. And you kind of want to tap, right-click is the default keybind to maintain his meter above that, like, 3/4, I think it's actually half threshold. And by the way, there's one of the car batteries. You want to maintain it above that, and he will run, and also I believe it will increase his attack power with his chainsaw. So you want to do that. It makes him far more mobile, but you also want to be careful not to completely fill that meter, because if you do, the chainsaw will stall out, and it can interrupt a chase if you're in the middle of a chase, and then you will have to restart it, which takes a few seconds. So be careful not to completely fill the meter. You just kind of want to tap it so that you can keep it above half full, so he's constantly at a sprint and constantly has that attack boost. It's very similar to, really, if you play Dead by Daylight, it's similar to playing him in Dead by Daylight or Hillbilly. Like a lot of times you would go around and you'd have to tap and keep that chainsaw revved up. It's a similar mechanic. The fourth thing is how to play the cook and how to use his abilities, because this is another thing that wasn't explained well and is really crucial. And I'm not saying that as like a way to be like, like complain or anything. I understand this is a tech test, so there's probably a lot of tutorials that are missing. So first of all, he has locks, padlocks that he can put on doors. But this is even more important. When he uses his hearing ability, you'll see how that stuff like spreads out. When his hearing ability spreads out like that, you'll see that points of it, see how it's kind of going up like that? How it's like jotting up, now it's jotting to the side. Whichever way it's kind of spreading means there's a victim there. And you need to kind of move your cursor, move your hearing in that direction. And then as the circle will tighten, that means you're now looking at a victim and you want to focus it in on them, and then it will sense them and it will be highlighted for you. That's really important because the cook is essentially the support of the family team, and communication's really key because he's the one who's going to be able to spot victims and then tell people, like right now, I go, hey, I see a victim upstairs, get up here. So that's the type of stuff you got to do. And he's really slow. He's not great at chasing. He's not very lethal character. He really is your support character, so you got to communicate and use that hearing ability well. And then his padlock ability is what you're going to use to lock down doors so people can't get through them. That ability is done really well on some of the more important doors. I think it's very early on, so it's hard to know how the meta is going to shake out. But I think you should absolutely padlock the front door every single game. The front door is so valuable for them. It's like it's the only way to get out of the front of the house other than jumping out of that front window. And if they do that, if you're a good player, it's pretty much a free kill because they're going to be down forever. They're going to be super injured. So I would padlock the front door pretty much every time. And then what you want to padlock outside of that kind of varies. You can padlock some stuff in the back. But either way, no matter where you put your padlocks, make sure you use them. Don't just sit on your padlocks and not use them. And that also goes for our fifth and final beginner tip, which is the Hitchhiker. Same gimmick with him. You want to make sure that you are using his traps. His traps are invaluable. And I'm going to show you a clip from a victim's perspective that really illustrates what I'm talking about. So as I come over here, I'm at the back gate, and there's the car battery that's powering the defenses on that back gate, so I can't escape until I disable this car battery. But he has put a trap right on the car battery, and I don't have any way to, like, get rid of that. So my only choice is to just step in it, and now he knows that he's caught somebody at a trap. So traps are really useful, not only for, cutting off certain choke points. Like, you could potentially put one at the top of the stairs. You could put one right outside one of the basement doors. But you can also do that. You could trap objectives. You can put one on the generator that electrifies the front gate. You could put one on the car battery that electrifies the back gate. Stuff like that that's going to make it really, really difficult for survivors to escape. So that's just something that you really need to make sure that you're using in every single match. Use all your abilities on all of the different family members, and you should be good. These are the 5 best beginner tips that I have if you're trying to play family in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I hope this helps you because this is all information I did not know when I first started playing this tech test earlier today. So if you found the video helpful, feel free to like, comment, all that good stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.